This is Behind the Headlines, with behind-the-scenes analysis on issues affecting Pennsylvanians, sponsored by the Susquehanna Valley Center for Public Policy. Now, here's your host.
From Philadelphia to Erie, from Scranton to Pittsburgh, it's Behind the Headlines. Hi, I'm Charlie Greenwald, Senior Fellow of the Susquehanna Valley Center for Public Policy. And today, we're on location in Sacramento, Pennsylvania. We've taken our film crew and we have gone out to visit one of the largest potato manufacturers and processors in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Mouser Farms. And we were very fortunate to have with us today the chairman of the board and the CEO for the company, Keith Mouser. Keith, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Your family has been involved with potatoes forever. They came from Germany, didn't they? And ever since that time, you've been involved with potato and potato production in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Is that true?
Our ancestors immigrated from southwest Germany in the mid-1700s, immigrated to the Reading area, and around 1800 our ancestors moved into western Schuylkill County and have been growing, our family's been growing potatoes ever since.
That's phenomenal. Why Pennsylvania?
The region in southwest Germany that our ancestors came from has similar soil types to what were identified in western Schuylkill County, and that may have been a reason. Mm-hmm. Also, the topography and the geography is very similar to where our ancestors came from in Europe.
Mm-hmm. And all told, it's 8 generations of your family, is that correct?
From the ancestor Johannes Mouser, who immigrated to western Schuylkill County in right around 1800, he began growing potatoes, and my son and daughter would be the 8th generation of our family to grow potatoes.
Okay. Now, in terms of size, originally when your current facility took root in the 1970s, you had 625 acres. How many acres do you currently utilize in production?
In 1970, my father Sterman incorporated this farming operation and was growing about 625 acres. I joined the operation in 1976. Mm-hmm. And since that time, we've expanded to around 5,000 acres of production.
And the official name of this new enterprise is the Sterman
Mouser Incorporated,
mm-hmm.
Which he began in 1970.
Mm-hmm. And originally, back in the 1970s, you had a production level of maybe 7 million pounds of potatoes. What are you up to today?
So we ship out of this location roughly 300 million pounds of potatoes, and we're producing close to 1,000 acres. And so 10% of that 300 million or 30 million we produce here in northern Dauphin and western Schuylkill counties.
Mm-hmm. What is your employment level? I know you employ quite a few people. What does it amount to?
I think the latest count at Sterman Mouser, we employ 287. At Keystone Potato Products, our sister mm-hmm. facility where we process our potatoes that are not suitable for a retail chain store environment, we have 47. And then we have a logistics company, Mouser Logistics, where we have 27 employees. Okay.
Now, the potato has been a staple in American diets for generations. Lately, there's this debate among some about the sweet potato versus other vegetable choices. But the potato industry, I guess, has joined this debate. People don't realize the potato only has 110 calories. Calories come from what you place on the potato, isn't that true?
And 0 fat.
Mm-hmm.
More potassium than a banana, loaded with vitamin C and fiber. So it's really a healthy vegetable. Mm-hmm. And so the reputation for potatoes being unhealthy comes from, like you said, what ingredients are put on
From
it.
people putting on a whole stick of butter
Right,
on
yeah,
their one baked
exactly.
potato,
Yeah.
which I've had friends who've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Could you tell us about the different types of potatoes? Lots of Pennsylvanians and Americans don't realize that there are a number of potatoes. They think of just white potatoes or red potatoes, but there are many different types. Could you share with the viewers the different types of potatoes?
So there's 4 basic types of potatoes. You have the round white, you have yellow flesh potatoes. People refer to them as Yukon Golds, but there's many varieties other than just the Yukon Gold. There's red skin potatoes, and then there's the russet potatoes. Those are the 4 primary types. But within those types, you have lots of varieties, and there's other types. There's potatoes were, found in the South America, and as the original potatoes were like crooked fingers and all different colors and shapes. And as the plant pathology breeding programs have perfected the potatoes to become more desirable to the marketplace, the different varieties have come out of that. So there's hundreds of different round white varieties. Some are specific for potato chips. They'll fry better than others. They'll provide more chips than other, and some round white varieties are better for cooking. They won't slough off or cook apart. You have yellow flesh potatoes that are primarily for table use. Red skin potatoes, primarily for table use. And russet potatoes there's varieties of russets that are predominant in the frozen French fry industry. 60% of America's potato production is devoted to the potato processing for frozen potato products. And so you have different russet varieties. Some are bred and for different uses. And then you have these specialty potatoes. You have growers are trying to grow smaller potatoes for some specialty markets, and so we're getting different varieties and manipulating varieties to get smaller tubers, so we can sell a lot more small potatoes. When I was growing up, we would feed them to the pigs, and now they're a premium product.
Well, where does Pennsylvania stand in potato production vis-a-vis Idaho and Maine? When people hear potatoes, and they tend to think of Idaho first, maybe Maine second. Well,
that's interesting in that in 1952, Pennsylvania was second.
Wow.
In the country, and now we're 18th in monetary value of our crop and 19th in production.
What happened?
The irrigation projects of the Pacific Northwest opened up and took the risk out of excess rain. I mean, the temperate climate we grow potatoes in on the East Coast has risks.
So it's not that Pennsylvania is producing fewer potatoes, it's just that other areas have really focused on that. And
well, a lot of the production moved to the Pacific Northwest. Pennsylvania is growing less potatoes. We had 100,000 acres grown in the early 50s, and now there's less than 10,000 acres grown in the state of Pennsylvania.
Is that because these other areas are so much more conducive, the weather's better?
When you grow in a climate where you have hot days and cool nights, potatoes grow better. And when you can control water, you can add water when you need to and not reliant on Mother Nature. You can produce a more consistent crop with less risk. So there is a higher risk of growing potatoes in the East, but here's where our markets are. So when you grow next to the consumer, it's a lot of advantages to that and is worth the risk.
In fact, your location here in mid-central Pennsylvania gives you access you within 24 hours of what percentage of the consumer population?
We believe that we are within 3 hours of 30% of the U.S. potato consumers.
Wow. So this is a good location to grow and to process potatoes from.
That's primary reason we're here, because it's challenging and difficult to grow potatoes in this environment.
Well, hearkening back to my history in high school, I remember reading about, was Cortez? No, it wasn't Cortez, excuse me, Pizarro, the founder, the first Western individual to stumble upon potatoes in Peru and in Bolivia, grown by the Incas.
You may be correct on that. I'm not exactly sure.
But that's where potatoes, I guess, originated from?
Yeah, there's an article in National Geographic a couple years ago that outlines that.
Uh-huh. I think that's fascinating how they the potatoes come out of South America and now has taken North America and Europe by storm.
Right.
So you never went to South America to visit?
It's on my bucket list. There's a potato breeding facility in Chile, and so I actually in Peru. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, that sounds like
in Lima. There's a potato research facility in Lima, Peru. That it's on my bucket list. To
sounds
see.
like an interesting trip.
Yeah, my father almost got there. He took a motorcycle trip to the Panama Canal.
Now, was that related in any way to his farming interests, agricultural interests, or that was just a challenge?
It was basically just a challenge for him. Yeah.
Okay, that's it just shows the spirit, the adventurous spirit that your father had, and was necessary perhaps to be a successful entrepreneur. I was very impressed by your company's mission statement. You have laid out a mission statement with goals for your employees, with goals for your customers, and goals for the community. What led you to be that specific and to lay out a mission statement of that sort? It seems to be very, very conscientious in terms of how you are looking at your employees and how you're treating them, and all the things that you want to do to help the community. I think anyone who reads that mission statement would be very impressed with what's going on here. Do you want to talk a little bit about the development of that statement?
Well, it took a lot of soul searching within our family to characterize it on paper. Our employees are our most valuable asset we have here, and we value their contributions to the company, and we want to make we're striving to make a safe, healthy work environment for them and help our employees grow and become better employees and citizens of the community. Mm-hmm. And then for our customers, we are here to serve our customers. Our customers pay the bills for us, so we pay a lot of attention to our customers, and we pride ourselves and differentiate ourselves from our competition and being on-time delivery. And then for our community, we are a member of our community, and we need to be responsible stewards of our environment and be good citizens to our community. So those are the factors that we put together into our mission statement to characterize it in words that we can look to and remind ourselves what our mission is each day.
Okay. It seems that one of our former board members for Susquehanna was Derek Hathaway, the former chairman and CEO of Harsco. He believed in servant leadership for Harsco, and it seemed to work very well. It seems like you're actually, in your mission statement, adopting servant leadership here, the way that you're trying to interface with your employees. And
we believe in it, and we try to walk the talk.
Very good. Well, let's take a break here. We'll be back in a minute with Keith Mouser in Sacramento, Pennsylvania.
Behind the Headlines is brought to you as a public service by the Hospital and Health System Association of Pennsylvania, helping hospitals provide healing, health, and hope to communities across the state. And by the Pennsylvania Business Council, envisioning a commonwealth in which residents enjoy a very high quality of life in sustainable communities. The council works aggressively to define key long-term policy strategies and solutions to make the commonwealth more competitive, creating and sustaining a better Pennsylvania. Additional underwriting provided by the Worrell Corporation Foundation, based in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, by the Edward H. and Jeannie Arnold Foundation, and by the Pennsylvania Manufacturers Association. Business in Pennsylvania is our business. Behind the Headlines is also supported as a public service by Daily Express, transporting construction, farm, and industrial equipment throughout the United States, and by Blackford Ventures, LLC, a private equity firm seeking to make significant investments in real estate, proven business enterprises, and their leaders. Find out more at www.blackfordventures.com. And by the Pennsylvania Highway Information Association, the go-to source to learn about transportation projects and issues. Visit pahighwayinfo.org.
Welcome back to Behind the Headlines. Today we're filming on location in Sacramento, Pennsylvania, and we're with Keith Mosser, who is the chairman and the CEO of Sterman Mosser Potatoes, and certainly one of the largest potato producers in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And we've been talking about agriculture in Pennsylvania and potatoes in particular. One of the things we were talking about was the history of potatoes, Keith. One thing, being a University of Virginia graduate, I was surprised to discover that Jefferson played a role in the potato history in the United States. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
The first president to serve potatoes at the White House. So we're very grateful for beginning that tradition.
I guess so. We never learned that in Virginia. We were taught everything there was about Jefferson, but that was one thing we
developing
didn't
the mower
learn.
plow and all his other agricultural inventions.
Exactly. And one of the things that he talked about the need for was crop rotation. Now, you do crop rotation with your potatoes as well, don't you?
We do. We rotate potatoes. We'll follow potatoes with wheat, and we'll follow wheat with corn, and we'll follow corn with potatoes, or we'll 2 years of corn. Sometimes we'll try and get to a 4-year rotation, or we'll follow potatoes with wheat interseeded with timothy, and then we'll produce timothy hay for 2 years and with a 4-year rotation. So we try and get minimum 3 up to a 4 or 5 year rotation on our potato ground.
So you keep your farmland quite fertile and very productive.
It helps us to conserve our soil. It helps us to reduce our need for insecticides for potatoes. And so it's part of our sustainability program.
I was just going to ask about that. That leads right into your company, more so than most that I'm aware of, has really emphasized sustainability. Could you tell us a little bit about what your company has done and what you plan to do in the future in terms of sustainability?
Sure. So part of our sustainability is with our conservation practices. We've engaged in minimum tilling potatoes. We don't mow or plow anymore. We no-till all our grains, so there's no tillage. So we're very tuned to conserving our soils. We, for instance, for our production facility, we installed a 1 megawatt solar array. So 40% of the energy required for our potato packaging facility is produced from solar energy. At our processing plant, we use methane gas from an adjacent landfill to fuel an 800 horsepower boiler that we use to generate steam to peel potatoes, to cook potatoes, and dehydrate potatoes.
Wow, so you are deriving energy from Pennsylvania's garbage.
Correct, yeah.
That's fantastic.
We do, and then our water source, we have contaminated mine pool water we're in the lower end of the anthracite coal region, and these abandoned mines have mine pool water that is filled with contaminants of iron, manganese, sulfur. We bring that water up and we purify it. We make it safe for drinking.
That is a huge service to the Commonwealth, and I
And-
don't think most people realize that Pennsylvania's agricultural community is engaged in that.
So those are some of the things that we are involved in and helping to clean up, at the same time cleaning up the environment, utilizing some resources to help us in our potato production and processing.
Now, one of the things that benefits your company is that you have a lifelong association, essentially, with Penn State University, our land-grant university, and essentially your company, your production process has collaborated with the agricultural program at the Penn State. You want to talk a little bit about that, Keith?
Well, sure. I'm honored to serve as chairman of the Board of Trustees at the Penn State University since 2013. And the university has been transformative into my life. I received a Master's of Science from the College of Engineering, which helped provide me with the problem-solving skills and the critical thinking to grow an entrepreneurial business. But at the same time, the university's extension program has served us well in helping us screen and find varieties of potatoes that are suitable and can continue to serve our changing consumer demands.
Mm-hmm. And not only did you and your wife attend Penn State, but then your children attended there as well? And
That's correct. My wife has a degree in health and nutrition from Penn State. My daughter also has a degree in engineering with a master's degree in engineering and an MBA. And my son has a degree from the Department of Agricultural Engineering and agricultural systems management. So we're a Penn State family.
So your company is really a reflection of a Penn State background, and you have helped through the agricultural program at Penn State train a whole new generation of farmers, I suppose it's fair to say.
We support, we have scholarships at Penn State that we support students in their agricultural education endeavors.
Mm-hmm. Now, your company has also been innovative in terms of using things like your one-stop model. Could you tell us what your one-stop model is, Keith?
We strive to be a one-stop shop for our customers. So the chain stores, our core business is serving the chain stores produce department in their potato category. So we strive to supply every SKU or every potato item that our customers have in their category. So we'll produce and package all the different types and varieties of potatoes that our customers choose to sell in their retail distribution outlets.
And you also your company is very innovative in its use of social media to market your products in a way that I haven't seen many other companies. Will you talk a little bit about that?
Well, our end user of potatoes, we try to reach through social media, through our company's Facebook site and other media outlets to try and promote potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And we believe that the rising tide raises all ships. So we want people to eat more potatoes.
Mm-hmm. Now, onions also play a role in your company and in your production process. Could you talk a little bit about your onions and where they're grown and how many of those are produced and what role they play?
So we developed a marketing network. And we have 8 like-minded producers that subscribe to the Fresh Solutions Network. And members of that network also grow onions, and they grow onions that we supply into our markets because that's part of the one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
We have our category managers at our chain stores not only have potatoes, they have sweet potatoes and they have onions. And so we try and service them with all their produce needs. So within our network, we have growers that grow onions, that we have a supply tied right back to the producer.
Okay, in our last minute, can you tell us what does the future have in store for your family and your company?
We're here for the long term. We have our succession plan in place with the next generation. We are looking to grow the potato industry in the East Coast to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the marketplace and serve our employees, our customers, and our community.
Would you ever consider locating facilities in other states at this point, or there's
we have a facility in Southwest Michigan that we have a grower that is partnered with us in that facility who grows russet potatoes, which is the closest irrigated sandy region to the East Coast markets. So we're producing russets in the near Midwest, supplying them to our East Coast market. So we've entered that realm.
Okay. Well, to wrap up the show, what is your favorite potato? I'm going to put you on the hot seat. If you have to choose one, which one will it be, Keith?
It's a variety called Lehigh. It's a yellow flesh variety that we have about 60% of our production here in Sacramento, in the surrounding areas of Sacramento that we produce.
Now, this is a brave person. He has not dodged the question. And we hope that you will come and be with us again next week for a new edition of Behind the Headlines. We'll see you then.